W2AV Talk with Demetris Curry. Here's your gateway to discovering the formula to a more gratifying life with the accountability you need to start and stay energized, inspired, and on top. Author and wealth strategist Demetris Curry is a nationally leading voice and go-to authority on insurance and financial literacy. Got questions about your finances, relationships, healthy living, or professional life? W2AV talks about it all, along with tips to enhance your overall well-being. W2AV Talk with Demetris Curry.
Hello, everyone. This is Demetris Curry, and I am coming to you today with W2AV Talk. We are bringing forth Authors Unite. Authors Unite has decided to pull together one of the best platforms I've seen in so many years, talking to authors across the globe about their background and what made them feel so comfortable in bringing their particular story to the forefront. And so we're excited today that we have the opportunity to sit here with you and talk with one of our amazing authors, Miss Melissa Hudson. Let me tell you a little things about Melissa Hudson. She is an award-winning nominee author. And not only that, she has changed the industry in so many ways. As an International Woman of Faith award-winning author, she has also brought about some amazing books. And one book in particular that has been so powerful, and I like to call it the guide to being not a woman's fool or female fool, but it is the Female Fool 10 Reasons Why You Are Not Attracting a God Christian Man. Oh, goodness, that's going to be a great topic to talk about today. So I'm excited that we have this opportunity to do here. But let's back up just for a second. Authors Unite wanted to take the time to understand the author behind the scenes, behind the work, right? And so even though we've had the opportunity to read a lot of their fantastic works onto the platforms and to the media, and also to some of our wonderful areas of understanding, we wanted to stop for a second and say, hey, let's talk about what really is going on behind the heart of the author. What made them feel that this particular piece of work meant so much that they needed to put it on paper? So I just can't stop and say this enough, that we are with a wonderful author, and I've read her work, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I gotta have her on this show. Miss Melissa Hudson, are you there with us today?
Yes, I am. I am here.
I'm so glad that you're here today. You know, you and I had an opportunity to talk some time ago, and just in that 5 to 10 minutes, I was like, oh, I'm getting goosebumps on this particular topic in hand. Tell us more about Melissa Hudson, the person, and where this all began for you.
When it all began, I always loved to write. I just like to write poetry and everything, but it was my professor at my undergraduate college that saw talent in my writing. So he said I should pursue a career in writing. But the thing about it, it was my senior year. I was getting ready to graduate with a degree in psychology. Wow. And so he said I need to go pursue that. So that's how I become an author, when he said that I had the talent. So that's when I decided that I was going to write a good story to help strengthen the community.
Yes. And that started when you was getting ready to graduate college. And from that point on, you just decided to continue on. But the work that you have out there, right? Where did that come from? You know, where did that come from as far as why this particular story of why you put it on paper?
Well, I put together this self-help book entitled The Female Fool, 10 Reasons Why You Aren't Attracting a Good Christian Man. Well, it started when I was a child. I witnessed my father murder my mother. She was in a toxic relationship. So that inspired me that I wanted to do something to help women choose the right man, because I knew that my mother didn't choose the right man. So that's why she ended up in a toxic relationship. So that's how I've become interested in writing a relationship story about women to help them choose the right man. And so when I got married, I decided to put this story to yeah, the female food 10 reasons why you're unattracted a good Christian man, because a lot of women are not attracting men by God's standards. They're going about what the world says is a good man. So that's why you see a lot of domestic violence issues. You see a lot of murders now going on and stuff, because people are not, why women are not taking the responsibility to accept God first before picking a man. So we just put our trust in God and just ask God to send us the right mate. Then we won't see a lot of this domestic violence issues going on, a lot of killing and everything. We just put our trust in God and just seek Him. So I felt like this book is much needed in the community. So that's why I put it together to help women choose the right man.
Right. That's powerful. That's powerful. Your testimony within itself is hard. That's a hard testimony, right? To even push through of seeing something of that sort as a young child, right? I actually grew up in a domestic violent home, so I understand the part of being a child in fear and not really knowing, what to do, and not feeling the power of how to take control of the situation, because you don't have that power to try to take control of the situation. So it's really mind-boggling that, we have so many children today that's just trying to figure it out, of relationships after the fact, relationships of what they're supposed to have and not supposed to have, and things of that nature, all because of the experiences, right? The experiences of what they've encountered and so forth. So that is amazing that you've been able to even push forward past that to actually get your psychology degree, number one. Hello. Because it's so much psychological behind it, right? And then put it on paper of what you expect, people to be looking for, and what not to do, and finding a relationship, right? And what not to do. How have you seen this book change your followers, or maybe someone in the community that has been working with you on changing lives?
Well, when the book was first published, I received numerous of emails from women stating that the book really inspired them to choose their husband and everything. So the one that really touched my heart was someone from another country that contacted me and said she was in an abusive relationship.
Wow.
So she was on the brink of committing suicide. So there was a pastor here. I don't even know who the pastor is. He had 2 relationship books, and one of those books were mine. And so he gave her my book for her to read. And so when she read the book, she was able to leave that domestic relationship. Wow. So she contacted me through email and thanked me for writing the book and everything. And so I went out and started doing a lot of book signings and speaking engagements to help women choose the right men. And I also used my background and how I prayed to God to send me a godly husband. So I have all that in the book, how I had a list of what I expect out of my husband through God.
Yeah.
So I chose my mate through the eyes of God, not my own eyes. So that's why I see a lot of women messing up, because they're using their worldly eyes to choose the right man instead of God's eyes. So that is so important, to consult God first before picking a mate.
You got that right. Look, and this is the thing, right? We can say some stuff that's really cliche, right? We can say some, you need to do this, that, but truth be told, when you are looking to be with someone for a lifetime, that you want to look at those prerequisite things, right? Do they have this, or are they a person of good character? Are they a person of integrity? Do they love me the way they love their mother? That kind of thing. Do they love God? Are they God driven? Are they a spiritual man? Do they have purpose? All of that is so much entwined with trying to find the correct mate for you, because everyone has different guidelines of what they want, right? In a man, in a spouse. And so That is just amazing. As you're in the school system, because I know that you actually also work in the school systems and so forth, have you been able to work with any students that have seen, problems in their home?
Well, I basically worked with special needs kids, and they're on the elementary level. So I actually haven't seen that type of abuse in those homes yet, because I'm working with special needs kids.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah. My brother is a special needs, well, he's an adult now, but he's special needs. And so, but he still grew up in a domestic, you know what I'm saying, in the same household with me, with domestic violence. And it takes a toll on you. It does. It takes a toll on you. Especially when you don't understand that you have maybe some special need mental capacity, that kind of thing. So it makes it kind of tough to even deal with in that way. So yes. I tell you, now your son, how old is your son now?
He's 11.
Oh, so he's my son's age. He's my son's age, my son. So when he talks with mom about little small stuff, little girlfriends, little this and that, little that, because they're getting into that age now, right? Get to that little age. One of the things that we have to do is mold them in the direction of how to be a good man, right? How to be a good man. Have you had any of those conversations with him in regard to what you teach in your book?
Well, he's nonverbal, so I really hasn't spoken to him really about that because he doesn't understand on that level yet.
Yeah. We've had conversations with ours. He's actually a child that loves to have, conversations with you. So, it's like, oh, he asks all kinds of good questions. Like, Mom, how long y'all been married? And did you know Dad then when you were in school? Did you date this and that? He asks all kinds of questions. But even at that age, going into teenage years, that good character integrity sort of starts to chime in, right?
And so my husband and I had a conversation about him when he was born. So we spoke about how are we going to teach him how to choose his mates and his girlfriends and everything. So we actually had that conversation, right? And reference to my son.
Yeah, and that makes a big difference. Make a big difference because it's so much stuff out here, girl. And one thing we have to understand is that we're not the only influence that our children see. Right? Not the only influence at all of what they see. So you have another a book that I thought was very interesting. The title itself, There's a Stinky Monster Inside My Shoes. I see it. You got to tell me more about that book. Tell me more about it.
Well, it's a children's picture book. There's a stinking monster inside my shoes. And the reason this story was written is really in the likeness of my son.
Okay.
He's autistic. And so he doesn't understand why he doesn't like to wear his shoes. He always takes his shoes off. As a matter of fact, his teacher told me the other day that he doesn't like to wear shoes around in the classroom.
Really?
So that would inspire me really to write this story because I was always getting calls at school about he doesn't keep on his shoes. He's walking around the class without any shoes on. So the story really talks about this 8-year-old boy that he's afraid to wear shoes because he thinks a stinking monster hides inside of his shoes. But actuality, it's not a monster. It's because his shoes are small and it hurt his feet.
Oh, I got you. By
him being autistic, he doesn't understand. He doesn't know that the shoes are small and hurt his feet. He thinks that there's a monster inside his shoes.
That is awesome. That's a good way of actually looking at it. Say, hey, it's not what you think it is. Yeah. But in autism is something where a lot of people don't quite understand autism. And you have a lot of things. My brother, he has these things where he has to be the one to close the blinds at the end of the day, or he has to be the one to take out the trash. Don't take out the trash. He wants to be able to take out the trash on his own. Let him do it. This is his chore, So certain things like that, they get fixated on certain things, and you just in their routine, and so you just sort of have to deal with that. That is just amazing. You pulled out some really important topics about dealing with not just relationships and how to build on the right type of relationships, how to choose the right type of relationships, but you also build on, you know, what it's like to be with a child that don't quite understand something, right? So life experiences, I see that you're using a lot of your life experiences in your books.
Yes.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. Let's talk about where we can find your books of work. Where can we find you?
Well, really, anywhere books can be sold. Target.com, Walmart.com, Amazon, basically anywhere.
Wow, wow. And
a lot of online retailers has it.
Online retailers. And I did see, I saw it on Amazon. And so you also on Books A Million as well, and Walmart.com. Okay. All right. And is there a particular website that they can go to just follow you and learn more about you?
They can go to, well, I don't really have a Facebook website at the moment, but they can go to my Facebook page or.
Yeah, list your Facebook page. We'll list your Facebook page as a go-to for you and to support you in what you're doing. Do you have some additional books of work we need to be looking for?
But this children's book is my most recent book here. And this was published earlier this year. And I'm still promoting the female food because this is doing well also.
Yeah.
So these two books are the only ones that I'm actually pursuing at the moment. Just these two. That's
all right. I mean, but they are amazing books of work, right? Amazing books of work. On the female food, 10 reasons why you aren't attracting a good Christian man. You know, I actually worked with a young lady about 2-3 weeks ago, and she was saying that one of the things that she's been battling is getting out of a relationship. And so that's actually a really good book to help with people that's trying to get out of the relationship that they got into, that they thought it was one thing and it would end up being another, right? So I'm going to actually recommend that she look you up and get that book and read up on it. So that's going to be amazing. Hopefully she'll go ahead and connect with you. So I'm thinking that's going to really be a great read for her based off of our conversation.
Yes, there's a lot of biblical principles inside the book, but one thing that I did learn that when this book was actually published, when I was doing a lot of interviews and everything, the media didn't accept it quite well because it was biblical. I do have a lot of biblical things, a lot of my own opinions, a lot of things in reference to God. And so the media, they weren't quite accepting of the book because they were like, it's a new day and age and people doing what they want to do now and they're not doing things of what they're doing in the past. But what they were trying to say was, my book is like old fashioned. It's not up to date. And so people are not going to be accepted of it. And the main thing they were saying is that, like, one of my reasons about no bed hopping, sexual promiscuity and everything. And they were like, a lot of people are having sex now. So how could I be the one to tell them not to have sex? And so the book wasn't really accepting to the media during that time when it was written. So I went through that quite a bit with the media.
Gotcha. And the year that the book was written was how long ago?
It was in 2011.
In 2011. So about 10 years ago. But the principles of what you're talking about is still current today.
Yes, it is.
It is still current today. What we're finding is that, people think that it's a fad to do whatever they want to do, live the way they want to live, and then don't really pay attention to the consequences until much later. Right. And then you run into that situation where you're like, excuse me? You made these choices along the way, and you just have to be able to deal with the choices that you've made, right? And so, when it comes to what's popular, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's what's needed in the community. There's a lot of stuff out there right now that is popular that should not be popular. So when you say there is sort of like a division there of media of whether they can support it because it's biblical, that kind of thing, that means that you need to keep pushing it.
Yes, and I have, and the book been around for about 10 years, so it's still doing well.
Mm-hmm.
So I just said it's just God's grace to keep his hands on it, because it wasn't accepted, with the media at first. But it's doing quite well, and it's been on the market for 10 years.
Wow, that is fantastic. That is fantastic. Yes. I'm so proud of you. You're doing a wonderful job of getting it out there and going against the grain. And going against the grain is what changes things. You know what I mean? That's what changes things, not what's going on in the fad and stuff like that. You need something to have someone that talks against what is the now norm of doing things the wrong way. Absolutely. So you've done a fantastic job.
Although it was 10 years ago when this book was written, but time has changed tremendously. We've seen a lot of divorce rates going up, a lot of domestic violence and relationships and everything now. You're seeing that so much nowadays. So I know this book is much needed in the community.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm putting it even harder today before I did back then, because it's much needed now.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
We see it so much now with domestic violence cases, and a lot of women thinking they can't find good men, but they're not doing it the way God says to do it.
And men finding the right woman.
Yes.
Seriously, because it's a lot of people out there. Melissa, there's a lot of people out there. They got the wrong mate, whether it be, man or woman, and they just not doing the right things in that relationship. So absolutely. Well, my hat goes off to you, and I'm excited about what you're doing in the community. We are honored and very excited to work with you on Authors Unite to bring this forth and to push it out even further. We look forward to having it on our YouTube channels and sending it out to, our media platforms in celebration of, what you are doing in the community. So just thank you for the opportunity to work with you on this.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. So we want to make sure that everyone has the chance to see and experience these particular books that we just spoke about today. We're talking about there's a stinky monster inside of my shoes, especially if you have a child that is autistic or maybe a special needs child. That is a fantastic book to go get. Make sure you get it for your children and your loved ones. And then also The Female Fool, 10 Reasons Why You Aren't Attracting a Good Christian Man. Make sure that you follow Miss Melissa Hudson on her Facebook page, and also go pick up her works of art at Target, Walmart, Amazon, Books A Million. They are all there. So we thank you for being with us here on W2AV Talk with the Authors Unite edition. And we look forward to our next segment and talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to W2AV Talk with author and wealth strategist Demetris Curry. Connect with Demetris at demetriscurry.com and subscribe to the Demetris Curry YouTube channel today.